Welcome to the Fire Time Podcast, where it's never hot enough, slow is fast, and the way to win is to make it so stupidly easy to buy from you that there's no excuse not to. I'm your host, Tim Reed. And once again, I'm so excited to be here today. Welcome to the Fire Time Podcast. Well, hey, as we continue to move ahead with our summer series of Fire Time Magazine Rapid Reactions, I'm super excited to share an audio article with you by my friend, Peter Parsons. Now, to back up a little bit, during the summer, we're in the middle of a series where we listen together to an audio article from the Fire Time magazine, and as soon as it's over, I hit record and give you my rapid reaction to it. And this is a series that we run twice a year while we're in between seasons. And so right now, as we speak, we're getting all the content ready for our next season of the podcast. That starts the Tuesday after Labor Day, which is coming right up. But in these episodes, it's really cool because we get to showcase articles from all kinds of authors in the industry. Now, Peter Parsons has been on this show a few times. He is from the island of Newfoundland on the far eastern coast of Canada. And this is a really cool piece that he wrote. It came out in the March issue of the Fire Time magazine, and it's called Tomorrow's Customer. It's a short piece, and like everything Peter writes, it is really, really insightful. So I'm super excited to listen to it. You know, as I record this, it's actually in the morning. Normally I record in the afternoon, but I got my cup of decaf coffee right here, and I'm ready to go. So let's go ahead and hit play. We'll listen to this audio article together, and then I will give you my rapid reaction to it.
Tomorrow's Customer by Peter Parsons. You know that feeling when you jump in a pool for the first time and the cold water jolts you awake? I had a moment like that the other day. Not in a pool, but in my own backyard, watching my son try to play. He's 7 years old, and I discovered he has no imagination. We were outside having a no-tablet day, and he came to me because he couldn't play on his own. He couldn't create any kind of fantasy without the aid of a screen. When I was a boy, I imagined bad guys running around the yard. I'd grab my pretend gun and battle any imaginary forces that crossed my path. He can't do that, and I think a lot of it comes down to where we've arrived as a society with technology. Screen time seems to be replacing kids' imaginations. That was my wake-up call, because if I plan to be in this business for the next 12 years or more, I need to figure out how to sell to these future generations. My sales tactics over the years have always involved painting pictures for customers, helping them imagine how a fireplace would look in their space. Will I still be able to sell the same way for my son's generation? Would I even be able to sell the same way 5 years from now? Our industry, it seems, is fairly slow to change. I read an article in the Fire Time magazine by Jerry Eisenhower on smart AI adoption for heart businesses, and I agree that AI is the next big thing we can use behind the scenes. But what about the front lines of our businesses? How do we sell to tomorrow's customers who can't imagine what that fireplace will look like in their living room? Are we going to be an industry that continues to react to change, or are we going to get proactive and build the next generation of showrooms for the next generation of buyers? I think our industry needs to get ahead of the shift by rethinking the showroom experience. Full-size projection technology, AI-generated imagery, and virtual reality can help tomorrow's customers see what they can't imagine on their own. To start, full-size projection can bridge the gap between a brochure and a buying decision. The concept is straightforward. Imagine a section of your showroom with white walls, maybe some light-absorbing surfaces to create a cinema-type feel, and a high-definition projector. This may sound a little far-fetched, but companies like Life-Size Plans are already doing something similar. I came across them while my wife and I were planning a new house. They take your house plans and project them full-size in a large indoor space so you can walk through your entire home before you spend $1 on construction. It helps people who can't imagine what their home will look like from a piece of paper, and it got me thinking about our showrooms. Tomorrow's customer comes in looking for a fireplace, and you ask if they have a picture of their living room. They pull one up on their phone, you upload it to the projector, and suddenly their living room is right there in your showroom. From there, you've got two options. Roll one of your movable display units into the space so they can see the real thing in context, or upload an image of any fireplace your experience tells you is the right fit. Either way, the customer can now see what that unit looks like in their home. No imagination required. AI-generated imagery, meanwhile, takes the experience even further. Have you seen those Bigfoot vlogs being created with AI lately? The technology to create realistic images is getting remarkable. Now imagine your customer is standing in front of that projected image of their living room and mentions they're planning to change their walls to stone, tile, or something else entirely. AI can generate that image right on the screen in real time. Instead of asking your customer to imagine what the fireplace would look like against a stone wall, you can show them. This kind of on-the-fly customization turns a showroom visit into something personal and specific, and it pushes the showroom experience from a sales pitch to a partnership by helping customers see exactly what they're getting before they buy. Finally, virtual reality pushes the concept further still. You've probably seen those videos where people are wearing VR headsets and get scared to death because they believe they're standing on the edge of a tall building or riding a roller coaster. VR is so good that it tricks your senses into thinking you're actually there. So who among us is going to be the first to create a virtual showroom on a VR headset so tomorrow's customers can visit your store without stepping foot inside of it? VR doesn't just solve the imagination problem, it removes the need for the customer to be physically present at all, expanding your reach beyond your local markets. Again, these aren't just distant possibilities. The technology for all three of these tools exists right now. Projection could let our customers see their own living rooms in our showrooms. AI could help them customize the experience in real time. And VR could let them visit our stores from anywhere. Together, they give our industry a way to sell to a generation that thinks in screens, not daydreams. And they turn the showroom into the kind of immersive experience tomorrow's buyers will expect. The future is here. What are we waiting for?
Well, I hope you enjoyed that audio article by Peter Parsons. That came out in the March 2026 issue of the Firetime magazine. And man, I mean, short and sweet and so obvious. I feel like this is true with a lot of Peter's stuff, is that he points out things that, people may not be talking about, but it's extremely obvious that we have to consider this or step into it. And it is so true with this as well. What this reminds me of is a piece written by Bill Lentz years ago, back when Hearth and Home magazine was still around. And it was called Selling in the Ultimate Showroom. And it was about selling in the mind of the consumer. The premise of the whole piece was basically, as a salesperson, when you're in conversation with a customer, you have to help them paint a picture in their mind of what their home could be like with a fireplace or a wood stove or whatever it is that you're selling them. And his whole thing was that we have to speak with word pictures and metaphor. If we're even able to draw a little bit, anything that we can do to build a bridge to where the customer can picture it in their mind is what has to be done, because if they can't visualize it, they really won't be inclined to take action. And, what Peter's talking about here is exactly that. How do we help the customer get to the point where they go, yeah, I get it and I want that. And each one of these, you might listen to it and think, well, I mean, I don't know if we could practically do that. But what would it take? I mean, if you think about this, even if you're going to start super, super basic, if you have a high def projector and you have a fireplace visualizer with an upload capability. I mean, there is a way, very easily and without a huge money investment, to have this dedicated on one of your walls in the showroom. It's hey, somebody has a picture of their home, put it up there, and slide a fireplace up against it, or use your fireplace visualizer from your manufacturer or from your website to give them an idea of what it could look like at scale. Pretty cool idea. And you might go, well, it won't work because of this, that, or the other. The picture may not be right. Hey, I totally get that, but it's there's a world where you can really make that work. And the whole point of it, I think this is one thing that we miss oftentimes in our industry. It's not that it has to look exactly like what they're going to get in their home. It's that it needs to have the customer picture what it's going to look like in their home as they look at it in their head. I think that that's a really important distinction for us. Sometimes people hesitate when it comes to even putting like a fireplace builder on their website, or they hesitate when it comes to like showing a picture of like finish work next to it, because it's like, well, we don't offer finish work. It may not be exactly like this. And there's ways you can have a conversation with a customer to say, hey, it may not be exactly like this, but here's an idea of what this can look like. And I would say, like, it is worth pushing into tools that can help a customer further visualize it, even if your company doesn't offer all those services in-house, and even if it might turn out a little bit different in the real world. There's a way to have that conversation with the customer. But I mean, I feel like his first one and his second one with like the projector and the AI visualizer, like they go hand in hand. And just to talk about like the AI visualizer for a minute, so recently for us at Wi-Fi, like one of the things that we've been building into companies' websites is exactly what Peter's talking about, like a fireplace visualizer with like an AI rendering of a before and after of what the room could look like. And there's like a little slider bar you can slide to see what's before and what's after. And at least for us, it has taken off like wildfire. I mean, we have seen like the amount of leads on websites that have an AI visualizer compared to some of the other tools we've had. The AI visualizer gets a lot of leads, like quite a few more than the other tools. And like me and Matt Bradley were talking about this, and it just hit us how important it is in the sales funnel if you can give them a way to visualize it, to do that. Because this is selling in the ultimate showroom, right? It's creating an experience for them in their mind where they're going, oh my gosh, like I have to have that. That's what I've been looking for. And, so pushback that we get sometimes is it's like, well, why would a company invest in that? Because a customer could just like pull up Chat GPT and do it on their own. It's like, well, yeah, they kind of could. There's some huge advantages though in your company being the one to provide these tools. First, it makes it easy. So like if you have this built into your website, if you have this as a part of your showroom experience, it makes it easier for the customer because they may or may not have the ability to do it. But second of all, you have all the data of the fireplace options, right? The customer can try to create a visual rendering themselves, but they don't know the brands that you sell. They don't know the decorative fronts that you offer. So you as the dealer are going to be able to give the customer a much more realistic experience of what that wall looks like compared to them just going at it themselves. But third, what's really cool is that, I mean, this is what we found from building these exact tools for people. What we've found is that when you have an AI fireplace visualizer on your website or as part of your showroom experience, when you can make it a part of the sales funnel, customers look at your company completely differently. They give you way more credibility, and you get the data of all the customer information, what they're interested in, their name, their phone number, their address, to pursue the opportunity faithfully, versus if they just pull out their phone and do it on Chat GPT. So there's a lot of reasons why it should be your company that's doing this. And I think it's absolutely right that Peter's the one that pointed this out. He talks about VR, and like, truth be told, I have actually like never worn like a VR headset in my life, but I've heard that they're crazy. And I feel like at the trade show for the last few years, like you always see one company that like is kind of messing around with like VR headsets and things like that. And this is what I would say. So like in my journey in trying to build our software company Wi-Fi over the last like 10 years or so has gone much slower than I thought from a technology perspective. So like about 10 years ago, when we had this idea of how the software would work, we had all these like crazy ideas for what it could do. We found that even starting with just the simplest parts of it, which weren't the most advanced technologically, but that solved a practical problem, and just starting there was enough to get the company off the ground. And the rest has been coming with time. And again, like even as I sit here today, like there's ideas that we had 10 years ago for our software that like we still haven't put into play yet, because they were pretty advanced technologically. And what we found is that as we started solving these smaller problems, that was easily enough to build a product and get customers excited about it. And you can iterate as you start to go. And so I would just say the same thing with this. Like, you might listen to Peter's article and go, oh, well, no, I mean, like, I don't even know where to start. Like, I can't get a VR headset for my showroom. And my whole thing is like, hey, that's totally fine. Like, maybe that's step 4. But step 1, I mean, an AI visualizer, like, what would happen if you put a projector up? Like, what would happen if you did that? It's a pretty low cost of entry. It solves a basic problem, and it builds an experience in your showroom that will set you apart from other companies. That's where you should start, and let the rest come with time as you build momentum. I think that there's really something to that. And I guess I'll end here. So, like, all of this has to do with visualizing the fireplace. And I've been thinking a lot about, like, how the sales funnel works. And I think, like, if I'm a customer going to a website, I guess I can't take full credit for this. Like, me and Matt Bradley have been talking about this a lot together. So, like, if you're on a website, I think that the ideal experience would be this. It'd be 4 steps. The first step would be having the website, or this is true in a showroom, having it find the right kind of product for your house based on your measurements, based on your situation, based on everything else. In a showroom or on a website, first, find the right product that'll work. Second, visualize it in the space. If I'm on a website and I can find out, oh, okay, this is the product that's going to work. Well, how's it going to look in my house? That's what I want to see next. Same thing in the showroom, right? If you can help a customer based on their situation and understanding their problem, find the right fireplace. Then you can go, well, let's see, what could this look like in your home? And you visualize it. My goodness, the next step is, let's get a bid on this thing, right? Let's get a quote, let's get an estimate range, but let's get some pricing down so we can understand what it's going to take to get it in. And then finally, we're going to buy it. We're going to book an appointment and make it happen. So, the visualizer is something that, again, with like where technology is, it's made it a lot easier than it has been in the past. But I mean, I guess I'm biased because we make websites with visualizers, and, I'm invested in that space. But I would say, like, everything we've seen is like, now is the time to like make that investment for your company. And there's a lot of ways you can do it. But I think what Peter said is absolutely spot on. And we have seen, companies that have a visualizer, like an AI generated, customer image as part of their website or as part of their showroom experience, get more leads and get more sales out of it. So, man, super, super good article, top to bottom. And, like everything Peter writes, it's very insightful. We should be thinking about it. Well, hey, if you enjoyed this audio article and you are not subscribed to the FireTime magazine yet, well, you can solve that by going to itsfiretime.com/subscribe. That's itsfiretime.com/subscribe. And basically, every month on the first Tuesday of the month, we drop a new issue of the magazine. We'll send it to you 100% for free. We'll have a handful of text articles along with a handful of audio articles. And in addition to that, every Friday, we'll send you a featured article from the magazine. So if you want to get your hands on this, I have found that, like, if you, your installation team, your office staff all signs up for it, it can be really helpful to get the same content on a regular basis. So you can be talking about the same sorts of things. I found that, rallying your team around articles and podcasts and things like that to discuss as they come out, it can be really powerful. So we hope that that is a blessing for you. Well, hey, that's all that we have for today. I hope that you got value out of this article and that you can go to work now as we're on the cusp of the season starting, putting something from this article into place. Tomorrow's customer, hey, they're here, so we need to serve them as best we can. All right, hope you guys have an amazing week. We'll talk again very soon. Thank you for listening to the FireTime Podcast. To learn more, visit the website itsfiretime.com. Music from this episode was written and recorded by In Bloom out of Portland, Oregon. We thank you for listening to the FireTime Podcast, where it's never hot enough, slow is fast, and the way to win is to make it so stupidly easy to buy from you that there's no excuse not to. We'll see you next time.